Hello, it's Sarah from Harcourt Hearts, and I'm here with my week of reading. This is where I talk about the books that I've completed this week, the books that are in progress, and then a section I call Mood Reading Roulette, which is where I kind of show you what I think I may try to pick from. Who knows? So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I completed this week was a book that I was really excited for. This is the brand new release. It was released this last week, I think, and that was Ruth Ware's The Turn of the Key. And Ruth Ware, if you're unfamiliar with her, she's a mystery thriller writer, and she pretty much takes those traditional tropes and then modernizes them. And so this trope that she's working with is a dual trope. The first one is the prisoner who's claiming innocence, and so we start off with a woman who's been imprisoned, convicted already for a crime that she's claiming she didn't commit, and she's writing to a solicitor hoping that he'll take her case. And so it's told as an epistolary, one big long confession letter. It's not a confession, but she does confess to certain things that she did do. But the second part of the trope, which I find fantastic, was the creepy haunted house trope. What makes this one different is that it's a smart house. And so everything is wired up. It's all works through technology. There are many other things that happen in this, but I don't want to tell too much. I will say that if you like Ruth Ware's writing, you probably will like this. She is kind of doing very similar things. I will say the one of the big twists I didn't really buy, so it did leave me a little meh about the story. If you're someone who needs everything tied up very, very tightly, that may be an issue for you. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed reading it, and I'll read more of her work moving forward. So I gave it a 3.5. Next one was part of my reading Women in Translation month. And so that's what August is all about. So wanted to read a little bit more. And so I grabbed Territory of Light. I listened to it in audio off of Scribd. This is by Yūko Tsushima, and it was translated by Geraldine Harcourt. I thought this was incredibly well done. It's a story about a fairly young woman who is in the process of moving. She has a very unreliable and pretty much a horrible husband, and she's in the process of separating from him. And she finds this apartment, and it's about her daily life. She has a young daughter, and her struggling to make sense of what her new life is going to be, and how she's going to make her live in this new environment in this new way. And you could tell that she's struggling, but it's really exquisitely written, beautiful story, poignant and a little sad. But I definitely enjoyed it. So that was Territory of Light. The next thing I read is, so I completed The Bookshop on the Shore by Jenny Colgan. And there are times, I'm sure we've all had them, where there's something that you're reading or something that you read that just is creating so much anxiety in you that you need a palate cleanser. And that's what happened with this one. So the reason that I grabbed Bookshop on the Shore when it came available on my audiobook list from my public library was because I had been listening to Human Acts by Kang, translated by Deborah Smith. Now this is a very, very good book, but I hit a section that was very detailed about state-sponsored violence and torture. And that is just something that is very, very hard for me to listen to, very hard for me to read. And it created so much anxiety that I needed something to just calm me down. And I didn't want to stop reading. I wanted to continue reading something or listening to something. And so when I found The Bookshop on the Shore, it was the perfect light, frothy romance, also set in Scotland, ironically. And if you followed any of the Bookshop series, it's a traveling character that has a traveling like bookmobile, and it's in Scotland. And this one introduces a new character who joins the fold and works also as an au pair, very similar to what happened with the Ruth Ware book. Different ending, completely different, not the same twist at all. And so it was just light and really nice to listen to, and it helped calm me down and get me ready to gear up for current reads. So I'm going to go back to this. I really want to thank both Claire and Jacqueline for talking me off the ledge with this on Twitter. So I put an SOS out saying, help, does this get any better, or is it going to be more gruesome, more heartbreaking as I go? And they said, look, there's a section in there that's intense, but you can skip that section and continue. And the second, or I think Claire said the last bit is a really great one, and it was kind of what pulled it all together. So I'm going to move to the physical copy, and then next week is also the start of the official WIT readathon, and so this is being put on by Matthew Sharapa and Kendra Winchester. Thank you very much, both of you, for that. I did a whole video of my picks that I'm going to try to pull from for this. So I will finish Human Acts for that, and I'm also going to finish Celestial Bodies by Jokha Alharthi, and this is translated by Marilyn Booth. I haven't picked this back up since Florence when I bought this, so it's been over a month. But that's because I had something that was so similar to it. It was a multi-generational story, and I wanted to keep them separated a little bit. So I'll finish this next week. And then I'm doing, the other reason why I haven't finished a lot is because I'm doing some really big, fantastic read-alongs and buddy reads. The first up is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. So a bunch of us are reading this together and talking about it. We're doing week chunks a little bit each week until the launch of the movie, which is coming out on the 13th of September. So we've just gone through chapter 6. I'll be posting a video check-in on chapters 4 through 6. I'll probably put it up tomorrow. So there's still time to join in if you'd like. So the first check-in that we did was chapters 1 through 4. And there's videos for that, and you can feel free to just comment in the videos, and we can have a chat there. Then this week we read up to chapter 6, so that's chapters 4 through 6. Next week we're going to be reading chapters 6 through 9. So if you are so inclined, please join us, and look forward to chatting with you about that in those videos. Then I'm having a fantastic time doing a buddy read of Kate Atkinson's A God in Ruins. So if you've watched this channel, you know that I really like Kate Atkinson. I think she does interesting things with perspective. What she's doing here, though, is masterclass in character nuance and character study. It took me a while to decouple this from the other book that this is related to, which is Life After Life. In Life After Life, there's a story of Ursula who keeps reliving her life over and over and over again, a la Groundhog Day, if you've ever seen that movie. And so that fantastical element allows us to be introduced to the family, to her family, her mother, her father, her brothers and sisters, and her favorite brother, Teddy, is the one who is the main character in this one. Now, what took me a while was I kept waiting for that. Even though I know that there isn't this reliving of the same life over and over and over again with differences and pivots, I did find myself waiting for something to happen. And what's funny is that I mistook another brother who is gay for this brother. So I kept waiting for the gay romance to appear. and it's not going to happen because he's not gay. And it took me a while, and we kind of pieced it together, my misunderstanding. So thank you, ladies, for helping me do that. And so what I'm loving about this book is her ability to play with tense. You may be reading a sentence from one character's perspective, and then all of a sudden you'll flip into the future, or you'll flip into the back just with one sentence, and it's like a hint at something, or an explanation of something. So well done, and the characters are absolutely magnificent. So I am absolutely enjoying this. Looking forward to my check-in later today. Then the last thing that I'm currently in progress with, and this will take me a little while, is A Lucky Man by Jamel Brinkley. This is part of my real life book club that I do with two girlfriends, and we're reading the National Book Award shortlist right now. So this is part of that. And I've said many, many times how I'm always wary of short stories, but this is a short story collection that I'm already after the first one. I like the texture and the nuance and all the things that he's bringing out in just one story. Okay, so let's talk about what could be up on deck. So I have a whole pile of books that I've gathered for Women in Translation Month, and I talk about these I go in more in depth about these in a different video, so I'll put a link to that below. So this is for the Women in Translation Readathon that's happening next week. And I also have a few options that I think I've mentioned last week in my Africa in August readathon that's going on this month. So I want to grab a couple of those and see if I can make some progress. Lastly, I have two things to mention. The first is very good friends of ours, of my husband and mine, are doing this really fantastic thing I'm so excited about. It's radixmedia.org, and they're doing this series. It's called the Futures series, and it's a science fiction series of chapbooks. And it explores critical contemporary issues in an imagined future. You'll find stories about climate change, dystopian politics, animal uprisings, interpersonal relationships, reinvention of the self, and more. And the series is going to be comprised of 7 stories that will be published between April and October of this year, 2019. And the first story in the series is Always Blue, and this is by John Dermot Woods. And this follows the personal struggles of a wind engineer who endures a set of tribulations, professional, emotional, and sexual, all set off by a small matter of complete climactic disaster. Sounds good, right? What I love about these is they're really well done. The printing on here is fantastic. And there's even, each one is just really like little illustrations. And they just picked really interesting people to do these as well. Let me show you some of the other ones that I think look really great as well. This is Muri by Ashley Shelby. Another one is called Guava. It's Guava Summer by Vera Curian. And then last up is Hard Mother, Spider Mother, Soft Mother by Hao Y. Zhang. So I think these all look great. I'm looking forward to jumping into them, and I'll keep you posted as I actually read and complete them. But as I said, it's sold as a series, and it's available as a subscription and I'll put the link below, but it's radixmedia.org/futures. So thank you all very much for sending that to me. And then finally, this is so exciting. I think most of you know Sean from Shawnee Reads and Bert, her partner. They do a lot of co-hosted little videos on her channel. Well, Bert was so generous. There was recently a GoFundMe type of, it wasn't GoFundMe. It was like a campaign, let's say that. It was a campaign for a lot of people in the UK to help for the children, migrant children, to ensure that they were getting legal care and support for the atrocities that are happening at the American border right now with families that are trying to come across for asylum. So number one, I believe in this cause very much, in making sure that this is mitigated and we stop this as soon as possible. It's an absolute horror. So I was absolutely interested in funding that. But what ended up being really, really a boon is that Bert was offering to do a personalized reading list. And unfortunately, this is no longer available. I feel bad about even mentioning it. But he ended up sending me a list of personalized recommendations. He went through my Goodreads and to see what I like, and also make sure I didn't have these on my list. And I had to say, I don't know any of them. I didn't know any of them, and so excited. I was literally so excited that I bought them all. So I will have a book haul coming up, and I'm going to devote September to reading through Bert's list. So stay tuned for that. I'll talk through all of that. I could not be more excited. Bert, thank you so much. What a generous, wonderful, wonderful contribution to that cause, and I'm thrilled to have been one of the recipients who received your generosity in that. So that's it for me. I hope you have a fantastic week of reading ahead of you. I hope you have a great weekend, and always look forward to chatting with you. Let me know what you're reading and what you're up to, and we'll talk again next week. Bye.